Welcome to CoBB, Conversations on the Business of Brands with Sudeep Chawla and Sharan Raghavan.
Okay, Sharvana, when we started CoBB, one of the key things we said is that we will try to demystify the jargon and possibly sometimes go against the grain of what everybody else is saying, right? Uh, you have picked up a topic which seems to be going completely against what everybody is saying, and that too, with everybody's favorite, which is quick commerce.
Yeah, it's pretty much that's why you want to look at it closer, right?
Mhm.
Because there's this trend about quick commerce. Everybody's saying that is the future of FMCG. That's how people are going to buy. And when everybody's agreeing on something, it kind of merits a closer look. Because when everybody's agreeing on something, it's usually not right. You need somebody saying no. So I said I wanted to look at it a little closer. And with the press and everybody talking about it, the hype is kind of pulling away from the actual reality of quick commerce, is what I feel.
Okay. Are you also, taking inspiration from some of the other hypes that were picked up in this market in the past?
Yes, of course. Because we've seen through it, right? We both are old, very old. We've seen a few waves that have come into business. And if history has taught us anything, not to sound like Godfather, but it is that we overestimate the impact of certain trends in the short term and we underestimate their impact in the long term. So take, for example, modern trade. Back in 2004, when we started, it was growing at over 200% year on year. The base was really small, but it was growing at 200%. And FMCG had never seen any new channel grow at that pace until then. So one of the big four consultants came in and they said, by 2020, 50% of India's FMCG revenue will come from modern trade. And where are we today? I think it's at about 10, 12% at best, depending on who you're asking. Now, 10, 12% isn't so bad. But when you approached it with the expectation of 50% and it lands at 10, 12%, you kind of treat it like a failure. Why I say we treat it like a failure is that apart from the large companies which have resourced modern trade, most other companies do not give modern trade the due importance today because it's not growing. It's still growing. It's just not growing as fast. So many brands have vanished. Retail brands have vanished. Kind of two big guys standing nationally. So it kind of doesn't get its due in the long term. So you need to know what you're getting out of it and set your expectations right for these new trends in channels.
Okay. So modern trade, e-commerce, and now possibly quick commerce.
Yes.
Okay. So fair. So, the modern trade and e-commerce are global phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
We always had some kind of a reference of how much share they took in other geographies, etc.
Right.
And we could have a point of view whether that will replicate in India or not.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, it hasn't replicated as well as everybody thought it would.
Right.
What do you think about quick commerce then?
See, the good and bad thing about quick commerce is that there is nobody to copy from. And it is catering to a need that Indians are willing to pay for. See, we don't value time as much as the Western markets do. But we are really lazy people. We value convenience more than we value time. And we've always had home delivery systems from our kirana stores. They bring it to your house. So there is not too much disruption in the way shoppers behave. You look at modern trade, they wanted shopper to get out of home, touch and feel the products, add it to the basket, stand in line to bill. This was something new. So they had to lure customers or shoppers into the store and change behavior. Quick commerce is not changing any behavior. It's taking the existing behavior and making it better, simpler, faster, because everybody's got mobile phones, they know how to use an app.
Okay.
And because of that is why quick commerce has got so much traction in India already.
Okay, fair. So if we have to, potentially talk about both sides of quick commerce, what do you think are the factors which are, acting in favor of quick commerce? What are the tailwinds that it has?
Well, tailwinds is pretty much what we're speaking of, right? For convenience is what it's offering, and it's breaking the barriers which e-commerce faced.
Hmm.
Now, e-commerce had a basket size issue, so it wasn't a medium for trial. You only repeat would come because you had to order in bulk, and there was COD was an issue. Paying online was an issue. UPI has gotten traction. People are willing to pay on delivery, and that's not a problem. And you are going after products which are catering to the population that's already on there, and so the repeats are very high.
Yeah.
So it's breaking all the barriers that e-commerce had, and it's kind of taking away the inconvenience, if I can call it that, of modern trade for having to step out of your home.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the other best part about it is that this is not a discount driven platform. People are not looking necessarily for discounts on this platform, and they're willing to pay their fees. They're willing to pay for subscriptions. They're willing to pay for the delivery, not too much, but within a certain range, they're willing to do that. Therefore, they are willing to pay for that convenience. So it makes it even better than e-commerce and modern trade, which was sold on discounts and novelty.
Okay, fair. And in fact, e-commerce also had this foundation of, because they were shipping from one go down, they had this foundation on ship size, what is the size of SKU, etc., that you could ship.
Absolutely. And even when Big Basket started the e-grocer category,
Yeah,
it wasn't immediate delivery. You had to plan for it a day in advance. So
correct.
the penetration was limited for people who could plan it a day in advance. It wasn't immediate ad hoc. And we're not people who plan things, right, in India.
Yeah. In fact, quick commerce is complete antithesis. It is for people who don't plan.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what I've also read about quick commerce is that it isn't just dependent on delivery fee or convenience fee, etc. It is also earning obviously from advertising,
Yeah.
right? And that is something which is giving access to a lot of brands for launches, for introduction of new formats, etc. And it
Even
has become a
testing.
channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you see this quick commerce moving towards profitability?
Yes, that's something everybody agrees on. And I agree too. Because of the exact reason I said, people are willing to pay for it. They might not be able to pay for it entirely just yet,
Yeah.
but people are willing to pay for it. And like you said, with advertising, with operational efficiency, they are bridging this gap. So customers will pay some, the business will optimize some, and therefore this profitability gap will be bridged. It may not happen in a year, but in a couple of years for sure they will be profitable.
Okay. Seems like there's plenty that is working for it in terms of tailwinds.
Right.
Let's talk about headwinds now. What do you think they are?
So that's what the whole topic is, right? To say now, in search of profitability and search of operational efficiency, there are certain things that these platforms, quick commerce platforms, will do. There are certain things people who are losing business to quick commerce platform will do. There are certain ways customers will behave. Some of it is controllable, some of it is not. It depends on how these platforms handle these issues.
Mm-hmm.
So now if you see, to increase the basket size, some of the platforms are discontinuing the lower priced SKUs. They're rationalizing the assortment that they carry on their platform. I worked on a coffee brand recently meeting consumers, and there was this lady who places an order at least 3 times a week on her quick commerce platforms. But she continues to buy coffee from a kirana store.
Okay.
So I asked her, why do you buy coffee from a kirana store when you're buying so much from your quick commerce platform?
Mm-hmm.
She says, when I buy a large packet of coffee, it gets consumed a lot faster. So I prefer buying sachets of coffee. It also acts as portion control for me to know how much I add to each cup. And they don't sell sachets on the quick commerce platforms.
Interesting. So wherever you tamper with prevalent consumer behavior, you might end up going in the wrong direction.
Absolutely, because people are buying large SKUs, but when you tell them to buy the large SKU, only some people are willing to do that. You can't force it down their throat.
Okay, fair. What else?
The next is the return of the kirana. Revenge of the kirana, if you can call it that.
Kirana ki wapsi.
Yes. Because
Okay.
everybody expected the kirana guys to be hit by every wave. Right? When modern trade was growing, they said, "Oh, the kirana is finished. Nobody's going to shop that way anymore." Then that didn't happen. Then in modern trade, Walmart was coming. They said Walmart has killed the local retailers all across the world. Our kirana guys are going to die. Nothing happened. But for the first time, they're feeling the pinch with quick commerce. And this is where they're losing business to the quick commerce platforms. And these are people who are fighting for their survival. They will fight tooth and nail for it. And they have the luxury of technology. Technology is no longer a moat for these platforms. These guys they've already got close association with their customers. So they will leverage every technology possible to come back to get the customers back. Using WhatsApp, they have ONDC now. So there are different ways to get this going, and they will hit back. So you will see a migration of people going from quick commerce, and customers might demand the same amount of service from the kirana guy, for which they will equip themselves. It be easier for them to handle a kirana guy than with a quick commerce platform, which is almost inanimate.
Okay. To be fair, a kirana guy is not actually competing with quick commerce. It is competing with dark stores of quick commerce.
Right.
Otherwise, quick commerce is directly picking up from them, packaging it, and sending it.
Right.
Okay. Fair. Okay. What else could be damaging for quick commerce?
The slow adoption. I think the adoption right now is considered very high. I'm saying it's a no-brainer that people will continue to use, or more people will keep getting on board on quick commerce platforms to buy. But if you look at the data, so I think Zepto is operational only in about 10 cities compared to Instamart and Blinkit at about 20, 30 odd cities. And Zepto's got a high density of stores. So I think Zepto's got some 300 to 330 stores in these 10 cities. And they are already at about 80% of what Blinkit is.
Okay. Yeah.
So with 3 times more city operations, you only have a 20% more business than Zepto does. That what this tells me is that as you grow out of the metro pockets, the uptake for quick commerce or the need for this convenience is not as high, given the lifestyle differences that exist.
Okay. Yeah.
And therefore, projecting quick commerce to be the future for all city classes, I think is a little misplaced yet. It could change, but I can see why it cannot or may not.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what separates India from most other countries, and this is a discussion that I have had with multiple people, is also the relatively lesser amount of bigger cities that we have. For a population of our size, for a GDP of our size, somehow our metros or mini metros are too few.
Right.
Versus say a China or any other country. And hence possibly the point that you're making, that beyond metros and sub metros, the natural acceptance of such a format might be lower, and therefore it might not become the future of commerce in those cities.
Exactly.
Okay.
The fourth is what you mentioned about quick commerce being a discovery platform for new brands via advertisements. Now, these quick commerce platforms, I'm not sure if it's by design. I suspect it is by design. Their listing process is extremely opaque.
Oh, okay.
There's no one transparent way of getting on board these platforms like you can do on Amazon. What they use this for is to charge exorbitant fees of the new brands that come on. Now, after a point, you can't squeeze the new guy who's coming because he's got to make money. And more you squeeze the new guy, they're going to go towards general trade. And if new brands are not going to be discovered on your platform, and these quick commerce users currently make up the innovators, they're the first triers of categories. If they don't find your platform as a discovery platform, and they don't find brands, if you take time to get brands to them, then that creates a little dissonance with the brand as well as with the shopper. And this can get them to go back to where they were shopping earlier.
Okay. Fair. So these are potentially all future pitfalls if some of these anomalies possibly are not addressed sufficiently by the quick commerce companies.
Right.
Okay. Fair. Yeah.
And the last one is that in search for basket size, they're already looking at non-FMCG categories. And these, while non-FMCG categories make for great anecdotes, they are not necessarily the right fitment to the service of quick commerce in the long term. And will you get a volume from there? Will you get your margins from there? Are you diverting your focus? I have a feeling you are, if you're doing that. Because delivering a toaster in 7 minutes is not necessarily a requirement for quick commerce. Is what you need in the 7 to 10 minutes. And that, if they focus too much on the non-FMCG categories because of high margin and therefore higher ticket price per basket, they would be a little myopic in how they're approaching the business. Looking at, I want higher basket size, I want higher price SKUs, higher margin. But the fitment is getting lost. That is where I think it could also be a misstep. Maybe it's not, but from where I stand, I think it's going to be a misstep if they focus too much on non-FMCG products right now.
Fair. Excellent. I think this is a fairly balanced evaluation of where we are.
Yeah.
What are the things that are working well for them? And what are the key things that they need to be wary of if they want to continue their march? And honestly, unlike what we have done in the past episodes, we don't have too much benefit of hindsight in this one. So we can only speak from whatever experience we have gained by transacting or dealing with modern trade and e-commerce. And so therefore, quick commerce tends to tick quite a few boxes.
Right.
But it needs to be wary of some points that you've listed out, Sharan, so that they don't fall into the familiar trap of, chasing profitability over consumer preference.
Absolutely.
And from a brand point of view, I think your advice to the brands, therefore, is to, treat it like a channel.
Yes.
Don't ignore other channels just to bet all your future on quick commerce. It will grow whenever it will grow to become a dominant share. And when it does, everybody would benefit. Be quick commerce friendly, but don't be quick commerce obsessed.
Absolutely. Don't start calling yourself a quick com brand anymore.
Yeah, correct. Too soon for that.
Yes. I think it's too soon. Any time is too soon for that.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to CoBB, Conversations on the Business of Brands with Sudeep Chawla and Sharan Raghavan. Subscribe and learn more at cobcast.net. That's CoBBcast.net.